Okay, we have several types of statements that are related to our conditional statements. The one we're using for example 3 here is the converse. So it says the converse reverses the hypothesis and the conclusion. So our conditional statement was if P, then Q. So the converse is just going to be if Q, then P. All right, so we're just flipping the P and the Q. The hypothesis becomes the conclusion, and the conclusion becomes the hypothesis. So let's look at example 3. Okay, so we have a conditional statement here. If you play the trumpet, then you play a brass instrument. So if you play a trumpet, that's going to, right, it's if P, then Q, right, that's your conditional. So P here is going to be you play the trumpet, right? If you play the trumpet, so the statement P is you play the trumpet. The trumpet. Okay, and the statement Q, we should probably do in a different color. Okay, let's do it in blue. Right, the conclusion here is then you play the brass instrument. So Q is going to be you play a brass instrument. Okay, so to find the converse, we're going to say if Q, then P. Instead of if P, then Q, we're going to switch the order. So we're going to say if you play a brass instrument. Right, so the then becomes the if, and the if becomes the then. So we're going to say if you play a brass instrument, instrument. Okay, let's change color here. That, then, all right, and then the if statement becomes the conclusion. So then you play the trumpet. You play the trumpet. Okay, so that's our converse. It asks us to assess the truth value of the converse. So a trumpet is a brass instrument. So our conditional statement was true, right? If you're playing the trumpet is a brass instrument. So your conclusion follows from your premise. Your conclusion follows from your hypothesis. In this statement, it's saying if you play a brass instrument, then you play the trumpet. So in this case, if you play a brass instrument, if we take that to be true, and you're playing a brass instrument, then it says you have to be playing the trumpet, and that's not the case. This part right here, the conclusion is going to be false, right? Your Q is going to be false because you could play some other type of brass instrument. It doesn't have to be the trumpet. So in this case, we would say our converse, right? That's what we're talking about here. The converse is false. Okay, and that's going to become important when we talk about biconditional statements. For right now, it probably doesn't mean much to you, but it's going to be important in a little bit, a couple examples from now. Okay, and if we look at what they wrote for their solution, right, you could play some sort of other brass instrument that's not a trumpet. So converse is false.